Wait, are we live?
I don't know. I didn't hear a one.
I didn't hear a one either.
Well, I think we're live, so welcome back.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, we're live. Welcome back to the Open Division here on the HeroesHype channel. We are actually all set for our next matchup here. We are going to be going into Skengmen versus the Wrong Orc. And I gotta say, these two teams, they're already, chatting in lobby here, going back and forth, and I am really, really excited to see how they're going to be shaping this out. You said right before the break that the Skengmen were a really, really good late game team. And do you think that going into Wrong Orc, who has been, a fairly strong, entity in the Open Division currently, do you think that they're going to be able to deal with that, make it to the late game and then win it? Or do you think they're going to have to adjust their strategy and really bring it at the start?
I think they're super going to have to adjust their strategy. On the road to level 10, Wrong Orc is not the kind of team to where you can just casually, give up a hero or three. It's like, all right, guys, we're scaling. No, they're scaling too. Like, Wrong Orc, they're looking to say that you're on the wrong portion of this bracket because you're going to be watching the rest of the Open Division play out either here on the HeroesHype channel or over at Blitz Heroes, because we're looking for the 2-0. This is a team that is hungry. Talking Trees subbed in for HeroesHype a couple of weeks ago, if memory serves, in the HGC. Former member of the HGC. Like, he wants to get back in, and everyone on his team has that same sort of drive. So you can't really just hang out and rest on your laurels against this squad. They're gonna have to play like it's the last game every time.
That's the thing. Getting the points, I think, is the big thing, and that was one of the things that I talked extensively in the first week. Was actually in thinking, looking back to last phase. Some teams, there was that whole kind of shakeup into week 3 or 4, where some of the teams had to kind of readjust and almost restart the entire Open Division. And we saw that those teams vied for the first place and did a phenomenal job for it. And then we saw the competition for even the 8th place was, so back and forth between these two teams that they were actually trying to, they actually had to do an 8th place tiebreaker match. So the Open Division, week to week, you said it right. You can take a week off, but you really shouldn't, because that's the big thing is you got to play week to week and grow and progress. But we're going to be going into another Volskaya Foundry map, and Halorin, I can't wait to get into this.
Narrow margins is going to be the difference between success and defeat. But Skengmen, they're on the right, and they're going to go ahead and take Tracer off the board to start things off. I get it. You don't want to deal with that pulse bomb and get set up the bomb, but Genji's going to get banned out by Wrong Orc. Interesting.
Not going to want to deal with the mobility from Genji, the potential, dive into the backline and get that blow up onto a character, at least that finishing damage that you often see Genji able to get, and then get to dive right back out. But once again, a high priority. This is the 3rd game in a row that we've get out of here.
What? Hang on. So, okay.
Are they just going to go pure push power on top lane with the camp and just go for Sylvanas? I get the Sylvanas for shutting down towers and getting a lot more with the Triglav, and I get that, but with an Abathur? Hello? What?
I get the Sylvanas. I don't get the Sylvanas in the 1-2.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that too. Yes.
This feels like a heavy amount of confidence in bravado. In the current meta, you're giving up a lot by taking Abathur and Sylvanas in your 1-2 against a team that's already helped themselves to your rel. And you don't have one of those playmakers like Genji or Tracer potentially in the back end of the draft. This is a team. Wrong Orc is just saying we're playing what we feel like. This is a step or two removed from taking requests from the audience when you take Abathur, Sylvanas in the 1-2 in competitive play. I'm sorry.
Did HeroesHype start doing $100 donations for heroes? Is this how we're doing the Open Division now? We just donate, because I would just donate for TLV almost every game. But we actually get a Joanna ban out here, and that was one of the things that I was noticing with their draft currently, is that they have the Yrel Malfurion Phoenix, and I was thinking that actually Wrong Orc would look to ban out the Diablo, but as they will be coming out of the ban phase with the next pick, they do have the option to pick it up themselves, so maybe they just don't they don't really worry about it because they plan on getting it themselves, or they just don't think that that composition of the Phoenix with and the Diablo and the Lightning Breath is something to worry about.
What I'm worried about for Wrong Orc is, have we seen the wild portions of this draft, or is it going to get even more insane going into the second half? Because like, I see the value potentially out of Sylvanas and Abathur, and the Valeera ban heads up decision by Skengmen. I think they might have potentially sniffed that out, but Zeratul, we saw him do well last game to a degree. And we're going to see the Stormbolt initiation with the Wailing Arrow follow-up potentially. This is a very spicy draft.
I'm trying to figure this out. I'm just sitting here. I'm just like, there's got to be something that makes sense, but it's to the point too where they banned out the Valeera, and then the Murd and Zeratul came out like 3-4. Like it didn't even phase them. They weren't even looking at Valeera. Period. So they've got something in their mind here, in their pocket on the side of a Wrong Arc. Maybe this is a solo Abathur healing map, and that that's where they're going to be kind of taking the Sylvanas Abathur in the 1-2, as you point out. That's the craziest part to me. But Skengmen are going to be needing to get their last 2 picks here, and they're going to need a main tank, and they're going to need something to pair with that Phoenix. To be honest, I wouldn't hate a Thrall and a Diablo here. I think it pairs well into the Phoenix, and it's a great combination, and it's great for the Volskaya fights.
They're going to go a different way.
Ooh, I like this,
ETC
though.
Ragnaros. I mean, the potential wave clear lava wave could be something of a disruption to the Abathur split push. I see value there. Mosh Pit is always going to be something to worry about. And outside of Wailing Arrow and Stormbolt right now, there really isn't too much to dissuade someone from tuning up the band. And Azmodan?
What is today? What's happening?
So Wrong Orc is very much playing their own style of Heroes of the Storm. Bravo to them. I kind of feel for Skengmen, man. They're getting everything and the kitchen sink thrown at them. They probably think they're in Home Depot right now. Like, they're like, dude, we just dealt with a full melee composition on this very battleground, and now you're gonna throw Sylvanas, Azmodan, like.
It's exactly that. It's just
like
out
here for them.
Exactly. And I don't even know if I'd call it Home Depot. It might be like more of an Ace Hardware. It's completely disorganized. But
a monkey wrench for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But I gotta say, I am so excited about this. I mean, I really want to see what we're gonna be getting with a triple specialist into what you considered a standard comp, and actually one that I personally have to say I really like the composition from Skengmen here. The Phoenix, the Ragnaros, I think those are great pickups, and then ETC and Yrel, I think that's great, and then Malfurion for some lockdown. But we'll find out here as we get into this game number 1, Halorin.
They definitely added a bit of spice to this next round, to say the very least. On the left side, we got Wrong Orc. It's going to be Nesper playing Sylvanas. Zane hides on Murden. Zergling is playing Azmodan. Talking Trees, jumping around on Zeratul. And then Tori will be doing the Boogie Worm on Abathur.
All right, on the right-hand side, we are going to be having Skengmen with the Phoenix being played by Ami. We have IB Ting's going to be playing the Ragnaros, Jaycon going to be playing the Yrel, Indie Bear going to be on the Malfurion, and the Cow going to be played by Cryspeed. Did you see the little exchange at the start? Do players not know this is not the reworked Azmodan? I'm hoping for troll.
Context. That could add some context. If they loaded in this battleground thinking they were going to get the new Azmodan, the needle scratches the record as they then learn that that's not exactly the case. We are playing on a tournament realm right now. Cripsy eats a good amount of damage, power slides to safety. The early gank is going to be a threat for the Skengmen. Watch how many deaths Ragnaros has on the way to level 10, because if Zeratul and crew are able to rotate down early and often, that could be the path to success and steamroll this game.
That's the big thing is if we can see them in getting caught out in this bottom lane as they're utilizing a lot of push power. Now the other thing too is Sylvanas went into the Mercenary Queen and at 1 for that 60% onto the Mercs to push into that lane, and I don't think it affects the items here as Ami taking so much damage from Talking Trees down to half health and through the shields. Dunk gonna go out. They just get the clear here and just stacking up that level 1 for Azmodan on the Taste for Blood. But Yeah, I'm curious. Like, do you know if actually does Sylvanas' Merc Queen affect the equipment, or like the fortification camps? I don't think it does.
So, because they're not really a mercenary. Like it's
Right.
an item that you're dropping. So
That's what I thought, but I was like, maybe is that the reason? Because there's only 2 things that you can take that you could get value. It's just I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out myself, but we'll see as it progresses. Bit of a scuffle in bottom, or at least they're posturing for this. We do have another minute and 30 before this first objective, and they just leave from this. They're just kind of pressuring this bottom lane and keeping them down here while Asmodee gets rotations and the push power from Abathur comes out.
I feel like Skengmen are just kind of trying to feel things out, get a sense of this overall strategy that Wrong Orc is going to employ with this interesting composition. You got to worry about Zeratul with the gank. Hami does have the teleport, but it's not the longest range in the world, so you have to hang back by the fort wall more often than not. Outside of the power slide and Malfurion and Root, they don't necessarily have a ton of burst to get that early game aggression, especially against heroes like Murden or a larger health pool like Asmodee. So the more they can just play a standard game on the way to the first control point, I think it'll serve them better.
They get this camp here on the right-hand side. They're prepping these lanes. Like, I'm looking around. This is just the standard start. There's nothing too out of the ordinary. We just have some decent stacks on Zergling sitting at 50 here. Gonna probably need to go back before this pops. Phoenix stepping up a little bit. They grab the item, but doesn't look like they're gonna invade anytime soon. And I do gotta say, the way that they're playing this, it's starting to yield them about a half a level lead, as we do have Zeratul rotating down here. Nesper just pushing up the lane. Talking Trees getting set up, but they will scout out as there are a couple members rotating down for this objective, or at least making sure that the Ragnos will not get picked off.
This could be where the wheels start to rattle and potentially fall off for the Skengmen, because the longer they hang out over this control point mid, you got to worry about Abathur with the split push. If Sylvanas breaks off and goes to one of these side lanes, locks down structures, that's going to be added value on the siege front that they just are not going to be able to deal with. And that's not even to mention what Asmodee brings to the overall plate. A 3 specialist composition means it's going to be pretty difficult for Skengmen to really define themselves on this battleground, because there's always going to be a split push.
That's the hard part. And now the trade here, though, at least in my opinion, the way I look at this is like, all right, well, they'll trade in team fights. They have a stronger fight. Nesper going to get knocked out and actually going to be in a really bad spot here. Abathur going to get the hat right there just in time. Nesper going to get out just fine with that shielding, and Abathur coming in with that clutch shield, as this still will be held over by the members of Skengmen. And they're starting to push off Wrong Orc here, but overall, it's still going to be held over, and that's going to be the first objective going over. And I think that they're just going to let that go, it looks like.
That was
or at least contest
threat. Solid threat by Cripsy to have the face melt to avoid the haunting wave to allow Sylvanas to get out of there. I'm pretty sure that was the difference maker between that E key getting pressed or not. 99% looks like the first protector will go over to the Skengmen, who more or less came out unscathed. The top lane was pushed in somewhat thanks to the Asmodee push, but it could have been a lot worse with what's in the overall lineup for Wrong Orc. So now they're looking to do damage. Let's see what kind of value they get.
Overall, at this point, they still have Ragnaros in bottom that will be defending down there. They're not losing out too much on experience here, but there is actually Ragnaros going to be having to pop the Molten Core in this bottom lane as Talking Trees is stepping up. Swing is called out, but the thing is, there is push power from the Ragnaros. Zaynhide actually has a little healing tone if he wants to use it, but they're going to disengage as Nesper is getting targeted by the Urel. Ooh, Talking Trees going to be falling here, and that will be first kill of the game going over to Skengmen.
Urel comes in with the 4-armed lariat, the first takedown of the game. Talking Trees got a little too cheeky there. Ran out of dashes and teleports. So that's going to be a melee assassin waiting to respawn. Top wall taken down, top well taken down. Zergling is going to get rooted. Eats a right hook from the protector before it ultimately breaks. There's the root Cripsy. They don't have any damage dealers because Asmodee would have been on the chopping block otherwise.
Asmodee getting out with under 500 health. We see the Mule come out from Abathur, the only hero to have Mule still able though to heal up that top lane a little bit, not letting just any of that pressure really get to them. Gonna use the hat as well for that. We just see camps being picked up by the teams. They're gonna go ahead and just create some pressure here with the Merc camps in top, as well as having these items for the next objective in that top lane. And realistically, prepping it's the biggest part, and also the other thing, taking down these front gates, that's huge into the Abathur, allowing, forces Abathur to play a little bit further back, or at least has to play aggressive, and there's not a lot of good hiding spots on this map for them. So we do have the Asmodee getting power slid and a lot of damage going out, Halorin.
Huge rotation from Skengmen. Zergling is just going to be like, well, I'll just try to get a couple more APM in there before I get taken down. Nesper, Zaynhide, and Talking Trees will be able to go through this bottom wall as a consolation and keep themselves more or less even on experience. Keenslayer in the chat said the Merc Queen does affect, so those turrets are going to be potentially bolstered by that. And the stage dive off the top rope is going to be the retreat. Nesper is going to get the hat and the treadmill to make a daring escape, but the lava wave comes barreling down the bot lane. It's not going to be enough to set up another takedown.
They get the experience from it. It pushes them a little, pushes them up to this level 11 here. Still about a half level difference. Looking at the stacking from a couple of members here, just the Asmonin looking at 106 stacks currently in Ragnaros, 23 on the level 1 Sulfurous Hungers, as we do have a little bit of a fight here breaking out. Urel getting 2 members knocked back. Knockback from ETC as well, and it looks like they just make this clean disengage. I think realistically it's just soaking and playing safe until they have the next objective and forcing that fight on the point. And the quicker they can get the Triglov, the quicker they can stop all the side soak and allowing them to kind of catch up in experience. And I think that's really where Wrong Orc is trying to make their plays, is just delay out the objective and then just soak and push. But I don't know if it's working out too well, honestly.
I'm not sure either. The Skengmen are responding to this composition extremely well. They get into a defensive posture and turtle up during these lulls between the objective phases, and they're able to get on the control point and get that percentage racked up before too much damage is had otherwise. And the heroics don't really change things too much. I mean, Void Prison is going to be available. Avatar is here, Wailing Arrow for a silence. And you got to consider the clone also. That added body is going to bring some value. But as long as they keep to this strategy, it's really going to be up to Wrong Orc to start to get takedowns, to start to really establish themselves on the offensive front outside of just siege pressure. They want to try to make it towards the keep wall.
We have Nesper actually diving in onto the Ragnaros. The sounds comes out as well. They actually get Talking Trees in here, and I think that should be enough, and that will be Ragnaros getting picked off right before this objective. That's exactly what they needed on the side of Wrong Orc. Now they have more room for Nesper to push. They're going to go ahead and grab this fortification camp, have another a turret available for them. Even if they want to just siege with this, that's a great value for them. I got to say at this point, Wrong Orc has really started to come into their own in this late game. And it's interesting to see that we watched an entire series from Skengmen and Skengmen, and we are now seeing the late game actually come out better from Wrong Orc. And actually we have ETC power sliding out, but Halorin, this is kind of trade and play almost.
Yeah, 60% and rising in an uncontested control point towards the top lane. Being already repelled, I'm curious to see how much this split effort's going to pay off. Now, at level 7, Sylvanas opted to go for a talent called Possession. Does that affect turrets?
I don't know.
I really hope. The enemy team walks in, they feel ready to go. They put down a turret, and Sylvanas is like, but wait.
It's mine now. Planet Cracker going to be coming out, and actually Urel's so low, going to get dunked on by Zergling almost. Avatar coming out just to make sure they stay alive, but that could have been close, as Talking Trees finds Ami here, going to get the blink out, as Ragnaros is going to be dropping some damage down.
Sector's picked up. Cripsy jumps into the driver's seat. Looks like Urel wants to get involved also. Venturi rotating down towards the bottom. Zaynhide Talking Trees, he comes out of invisible. There's the Storm Bolt. There's the damage going in. And the Wailing Arrow says, you were trying to teleport where? The Void Prison. Talking Trees wants to have this conversation. It finishes it, poses the argument, and that's going to be the second takedown to even things up. And they're going to help themselves to a middle fort. Or are they? Because Iptings is like, I'm a fort myself now.
Grabbing that Molten Core there just to deny the experience, as well as just having that fort down, is huge for them. Meanwhile, Zerglings will just use the Forever Laser and go ahead and just burn down the Triglov Protector as best they can quickly. And overall, I gotta say, with this Triglov, just to get the keep front gate, not a whole lot of value here. I do believe the fort was already down at this point.
I'm concerned they're leaving that tower with a shred of health, and the Avatar is going to be more than that. Did they go Mule?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. They went Mule.
They went Mule, so that's going to be back the start before you know it. J. Kong mounts up Divine Steed, not so divine. It's going to get immediately knocked off. The Ardent Defender will secure to disengage, but to force out a 100-second heroic, that's going to buy a window of sorts on this even tier moment for Wrong Orc to try to take a team fight.
And that's going to be our little meal doing some work in that top lane, making sure that fort or that tower goes back up to full health, or at least as long as they can. Support camp going to be attempted by the members of Wrong Orc. Dunk going to go out from Asmodan just to continue to clear out the lanes. Going to look to get that mid lane fort very soon. That should push them into the 16. Maybe they can look for a fight after that. But Jakong is going to be pushing in Talking Tree. He's going to get the blink out. The Abathur Hat will be coming out as well. Ami trying to get some damage out onto that member. We also have ETC trying to get into the back line. Talking Tree still getting so low as it looks like they've been chased back to their fort. Zergling going to be casting Blackpool and going to go ahead and get the dunk right out and just poke them down and as well get the dismount too.
So far, Wrong Orc are really making his composition work. Nesper has the Haunting Wave, hits the remix to juke the Twilight Dream. Indie Bears, like, don't have the camera on me for that one, but we most certainly did. I mean, no one saw that, Indie Bear. We're fine. We're fine.
But it looks like at this point we just have these teams rotating around. Now 16 to 16 should be, yeah, it's going to be even talent here, especially when we have the almost getting the mid lane for it. But the next objective should be popping up in the bottom lane fairly soon. Overall, look for maybe a fight at this point, but even talent tiers, I don't know if they want to risk it as they do have just about everything up for both teams, and Urel is almost going to have the Ardent Defender soon.
Level 16 to level 16. Malfurion Root goes down. The support camp is going to be up for debate before it's ultimately captured by the Skengmen. Cripsy goes for the power slide, hits the stage, or does he? They go ahead and drop the axe. The damage is there before we can go ahead and hit the trampoline. Jakong's the next target. Urel goes down. We saw Phoenix drop also. Right now, this game is starting to get blown wide open for a 3 specialist composition played by Wrong Orc.
And we even had the double Sylvanas coming out when we had that fight too, which is just that's what we have. We've got double Sylvanas, and that is yielding 3 kills for them. Great plays from the members of Wrong Orc here as they grab the top fort. They grab the mid lane as well. Point C is activatable, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see them just put Abathur on this. Go ahead and push this top lane extremely hard. Lava Wave coming out, gonna get the clear under the minion wave, but not the camp, as it looks like they just rotate down and they're gonna be working on their mid just to open that up a little bit more.
Yeah, that's where you're going to see the value of Lava Wave, but when you have to take that heroic just as a defensive response, it's not exactly where you want to be. Level 19 right around the corner for Wrong Orc. Level 20 not exactly here just yet, so there is going to be a window for Skengmen to assert themselves, to try to take a team fight. They're not dealing with a full support. They only have Abathur to try to keep those health bars sustained. They have Stage Dive, they have Twilight Dream, and Planet Cracker as well. They do have some tools in the old kit to potentially take a team fight before Storm 2 talents become a thing. They're going to try to make something happen sooner rather than later.
Looks like we do have Abathur getting off that point. Sylvanas will be grabbing this top lane camp and just pushing that up, as well as the rest of the team, making sure that that top lane pressure is still there. One thing I want to note really quickly is you mentioned the solo Abathur healing, and I'm looking at the stats right now. Malfurion sitting at about 20,000 healing. Abathur not too far behind with 18.5. Like, not like just really close in healing stats too, and it looks like with the pressure that they have and the availability of being able to grab some of these camps and also push onto these forts, they're looking at 20s fairly soon, as Nesper and ETC are going to be battling this out over this camp, and they have the Abathur Hat there as well, but it looks like the rest of the team will be rotating down here. Talking Trees looks like they want to confirm the kill, and that is going to be ETC falling to Muradin.
This was the moment that Wrong Orc was waiting for. Late game where the takedown timers are much longer, and every time they see that percentage start to rack up over the objective, they know at least one person's there. But Zainhide is not able to jump on in time to try to contest that. So the Protector is going to go over to Skengmen, but without ETC and with everybody on the side of Wrong Orc beating on this, it stands to get precisely -4 value.
It is not going to get them much here, as Nesper going to continue to just use the double Haunting Wave to get closer and closer. Going to take some damage themselves, but they'll be able to burn down this Protector. And as you said, 0 to -4 value. But they will go ahead. They'll defend this, and that's probably the quickest Trigger Protector I have ever seen or casted.
Less than 16 minutes in the game. Zainhide jumps over, connects Stormbolt. There's the Wailing Arrow. The Twilight Dream is not going to save Phoenix. The trampoline goes in. Cripsy jumps in, goes for the power slide. Talking Trees has the teleport after it gets low on health to successfully bait out the aggression. Ardent Defender goes in. Lava Wave barrels down the bottom lane. Zainhide continues to be a problem. Cripsy power slides in, face mount afterwards. ETC ultimately gets taken down, and another health bar is traded as the GOAT gets blown up too.
Those 3 kills were huge for them, and at this point they've got the bottom keep on lockdown. Nesper gonna go ahead and use the haunting wave just maneuver around this map so quickly. They move onto the core. They want to take this. Dunks are already going out, and it looks like the members of Wrong Arc want to end game 1 here as Ragnaros is trying to get away. But it looks like they're able just to continue to burn down this core. They've got some work to do, but overall this is going to be a fairly this is going to be the end, and Wrong Arcs will take game number 1 here in this best-of-3 series.
With an unorthodox composition, Wrong Orc are able to redefine the meta, at least within the confines of this best-of-3, as they go up 1-0 in this best-of-3. Wrong Orc, they played that last objective phase perfectly with the composition that they had. Yrel was channeling the Punisher the Protector the entire time, and as long as that's showing on the bottom right corner of the screen, Wrong Orc is like, well, we can push top. They got at least one person there. I don't see Yrel, so Yrel's got to be down there. And it just became this game of chicken where Skengmen were forced into a position where it's like, do we abandon the Protector to try to respond to this push? Or do we just try to, hold the line and have Yrel pick it up? They had her stay there. She was able to steal it away before it could be contested. But with the entire team of Wrong Orc there once it was picked up, the gambit just did not pay off.
Unfortunately, yeah, they got the Triglav, but they also kind of just mispositioned themselves across the map with that and having to kind of rotate around. It was just too much for them, and unfortunately, they were taken out in that game number 1 in a very odd fashion. Like I gotta say, like this is something I've never seen before, and this was awesome to watch in cast as well. I cannot wait to see what we're gonna be getting in game number 2 here, because if this is what we get for just game 1 and they're up a game, I'm wondering if Wrong Arc pulls out something even more interesting, or if they just continue to play and they just secure the win. They move on through the bracket and see who they will be facing between Abusement Park and FWC Esport.
I think it's just the mark of a highly skilled team on a mechanical and macro front. And sometimes when you see tournaments like this where things are more of a marathon than a sprint, a team will just take a very meta-conscious draft and they'll just continue to play that composition. We see that in HGC with HeroesHype. They pretty much just played Joanna and Diablo because it's like, nobody's beating us, so we're not going to show you anything else because we don't necessarily need to. But Wrong Orc is going to go the other way and throw this curveball at you to where it's like, if we can open up in our set with a composition like this, you don't know what to expect. So if you can force out an Abathur ban, something off the wall, like I can't see them actually banning out Sylvanas or any of these other French heroes. But when you just send that message to the enemy team that like, we can play anything and everything in any composition and we'll do it well, you really minimize the potential value out of the bans on the other side of the screen.
It's just like, all right, we'll ban out for example, I mean, we talked about in draft, when they banned out the Valera, it was still a snap pick on the Zeratul. They were just like, whatever, we got this. Like, this is our draft and our comp. I don't know, but I keep looking at just the composition. I'm not even looking at the stats, and I'm just like, wow, that is interesting.